Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Tuesday, November 18th, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I'm Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I take responsibility for my part in the shenanigans. We have a shenany day. So we actually have today Mercury retrograding back into Scorpio. Now, to be fair, this is not happening till late in the evening. It's happening at 7:20 p.m. Pacific time. That's 10:20 p.m. Eastern time. It's the next day over in Europe. But what we need to know, what we need to realize beyond this retrograde back into Scorpio and being deep in the dark of the moon in Scorpio is that we're going to have a day, like a full day, with Mercury at 0 Sagittarius. And I think the only thing more shenanigan-y than a Mercury retrograde is Mercury at 29 or 0. And we get both today. We get to experience both of these energies. So be aware of these shenanigans. Now, I feel like when we have a planet bridging the signs, we're meant to take some of that energy back into Scorpio with us. We're meant to take some of this Sagittarius energy back into the sign of Scorpio with us. And to me, this feels like bringing a little light, a little source with us back into Scorpio. I would say the next day may be one of the darkest of the year, so to speak. Having the dark of the moon in Scorpio, Mercury at the final degree of Scorpio, plus whatever else is hanging out in Scorpio. We've got Lilith and we've got Venus hanging out in Scorpio in these energies. And so I'm actually hearing something. So in this, bringing back source, bringing back that light, carrying that with you in order to face whatever the universe is wanting us to look at, whatever fear, whatever darkness, whatever shadow, whatever feels we need to look at, feel, and experience. Now, what I was hearing when I was like really feeling the source energy, I saw something the other day that said the most used phrase in the Bible is actually, do not be afraid. And I really do feel that Scorpio energy can really tap us into our survival stuff. It taps us into our root chakra, and it definitely taps us into fears. And the last many years, there has been a lot of fear energy being pumped into the collective and then being propagated by the collective energy. And so today, the work is with Mercury at 0 Sagittarius is despite the shenanigans, which will likely happen. There will likely be communication, technology things, wackadoodleness in your own self, all of that. And yet, can you hold the light? Can you let your guiding light be strong? Can you let that light that's actually in you and part of you and connected to source help guide you through whatever shadows rise up and show up at your door? Now, let me be fair and say, this little bit of Mercury retrograde into Scorpio is actually going to last for almost a month. It is not going to be until December 11th that Mercury comes back to Sagittarius. So this little light of yours that you're going to let shine needs to bring big energy to shine a light into all those dark corners and crevices where things have been hiding out to process. This is also happening at the same time that we do have Neptune and Saturn finishing up in Pisces, which also brings really deep layers of the feels. This is also happening at the same time that we have Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, also deepening the feeling energy. Now, Mercury brings the mental. Mercury can bring the stories. So you do need to be aware of that. Even shining a light on the stories, even being like, okay, where can I take responsibility for my stories and start empowering my stories? Scorpio energy is often where the victim in us lives. And this is also where the victim can become the victor, especially when we look at our thinking and how that's feeding into it. So the awareness of this is going to be really important. And I really feel like carrying the Sagittarius, like knowing that you can rise up, knowing that you can alchemize this energy, knowing that the light, even in the dark, is with you, is really important. I actually feel like these cards have been so great. The Shadows and Light, this card for today is so perfect. So do check out the Oracle card of the day. Besides that, it is a quiet day. The only other thing that we have going on is the moon in the dark of the moon in Scorpio, meeting up with Venus in Scorpio. Now, the dark of the moon in general is interesting because it can always show things that are hidden. And the moon and Venus, while you think this could be like really soft and nurturing and wonderful, and it can be, it can also shed light on issues around your personal worth, value. I think money stuff in this case. I know there's so much money stuff, and I know it's scary. I know this is survival stuff. But when you're letting the fear cloud your entire vibration, it's hard to realign with receiving. And I have been working on that myself because this year watching everything plummet has been really hard. And I'm watching it shift as I am shifting. So I'm just encouraging you to do some work around that. And also recognize, like, yes, what's happening out there in the collective, this is part of the Pluto lesson of Pluto and Aquarius. What's happening out there does affect your vibrational energy, but you can also empower your vibe. So do remember that. I also want to mention that strong mental energies are coming in. We're going to have Mercury connecting with Uranus tomorrow. We're going to have the Sun and Mercury connecting. The next few days are going to have kind of bonkers energies. So take time to ground and be really aware of what your mind is doing. And remember my mantra from yesterday, like keeping divine love, surrounding yourself in divine love. Take source with you. All right. Next card is the Fighting card in reverse. I do think that this energy can lead to this for sure, but it's always a choice in whether you're going to engage. And on this level, I don't know if this is the time and the place to engage. So be aware of it. Be very aware if you do want to like go fisticuffs with somebody. Be really aware that in this bonkers energy, another song's popping into my head. This is a song by Poe, and my friend and I used to love to sing it together, and it goes, "Can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being." Yeah, so sometimes you want to get through. I don't think that this is the energy where we're getting through. The work really is the internal working on the victim, empowering yourself work. That being said, we have schizophrenia. We might be a little back and forth all over the place in and through this. We've also got the letting go card. So definitely emotional energies. Have you had enough of the emotional energies yet? It's not going to be away for a while. I am so excited about releasing my class. I did this just a few years ago. I think it's so great. I'm just trying to figure out what's a great price to put it out there. It's 5 classes that I did around emotions. I think this is something everybody should understand about themselves and their chart. So there's that. Our last 2 cards are a little uplifting. We have playfulness and we have the dream. So we can lean into these energies as well. You can be silly in the shadows, I will tell you, because silly is where I live. So embrace that when you can, and when there is something playful, embrace it, because it helps light up the darkness. And I have to say, Christmas tree coming soon, because when there is so much darkness in the astro, we really do need to bring the light. We really need to bring the glimmers to help us move through. So, gonna leave that there. That's it for today. You can book a reading. You can book a clearing. Please, Kathy, you have one more day to claim your clearing. Otherwise, I'm gonna spin that wheel again. Kathy Westfall, you won the clearing, but I'm still waiting to hear from you. Besides all this, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and may your guiding light be strong, and know that you can trust the process. Namaste.